QuickBooks Online has been redesigned, and by the end of September 2025, users will be transitioned to the new user interface. This will initially apply to users in the United States. By November 2025, it's anticipated to roll out internationally. In the month of August, on a weekly basis, users will be automatically transitioned to the new user interface. They have the option for that month only to opt out by clicking on the switch button in the settings menu. However, by October 1st, those users will be opted back in. Since the changes are coming and here to stay, we're going to review the updates so you can more easily adapt to the changes to the platform. The left navigation bar is where we'd access all the features that we use. Now they're under apps, which you can see along the top of the dashboard screen. You can also access my apps by clicking on the dots. And then from here, you can open and then collapse this section. I'm going to open it again. And then if you click on the drop-down arrow, this is where you can see all of those features. So under the accounting app, we have bank transactions, reconcile, rules, chart of accounts. And under expenses and bills, this is where we can find vendors and bills and 1099s. Under sales and get paid, we have sales transactions, recurring payments, products and services. Under the app Customer Hub, there are some new features. So we have leads. And this is where you can add a lead. So you'd enter their contact information, and then you'd be able to track where they are in the pipeline from the initial inquiry to winning the contract. We also have appointments, and this is where you can schedule a video call with the customer. So clicking on settings, you can set your initial availability. And right now we're making ourselves available Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can also set specific dates and times that you're available. And then you'll schedule an appointment. So you'll select a customer, enter their email address, and then a custom message. The customer will then receive an email and then be able to select a time to meet with you. And then you both will receive an email with a link to join the Meet app for the video call. There's no need to download any additional software. And there's also an option to sync the events with your Google Calendar. You can enable customer feedback by going to the gear icon and then clicking on Account and Settings, and then Sales. And if you scroll down, you'll get to Post, Invoice, Feedback, and Survey. Then click on the pencil icon. And here you can turn on Work Requests. So this would allow a customer to inform you if they want to work with you again. You can turn on Review. So this would allow a customer to rate your service. And you can also turn on Ask for a Referral. And then you can set how often a customer receives a survey, so anywhere from 30 days up to a year later. And the customers would only receive a survey if they paid an invoice using QuickBooks Payments. We can add bookmarks to pages that we frequently use. So we'll click on Bookmarks and then the pencil icon. And I'm going to add Dashboard and Feed and Standard Reports. And I'm going to search for one more, so Receipts. And I'm going to clear the search field, and we can reorganize the bookmarks. So clicking on the dots and then sliding a bookmark up or down and then clicking Save. And then if you click on the bookmarks again, there's a pencil icon next to each bookmark. So by clicking on that, we can remove the bookmark or we can rename it. So in this case, I'm going to remove it. And if we go to a particular page, let's say we head over to Projects, I can bookmark the current page and save it, and now Projects is added as a bookmark. Feed is where you can find AI-related assistance, such as information about late invoices, unidentified transactions, and how your profit has changed over time. You can find reports by clicking on Reports. It's not under an app. And here you can find the standard reports, custom reports, management reports. Under financial planning, this is where you'll find cash flow, budgets, and forecasts. You can pin apps that you want to easily access by clicking on Customize, and then you can pin up to 3 apps. And then you can use the dots to click and then slide them if you want to reorder the apps, and then click Save. So here I can see one of the 3 apps that were pinned. If I click on the 3 dots, then I can see the other 2 apps. Another option is I can zoom out on my screen and then all 3 apps are displayed. You can click on the Create button to see the various features. This was previously labeled New, and you can also add actions that you frequently use. So if I click on Show All, and here we can see that we have some actions that are favorited, and we can add another one. Let's say we want to add Create Check, and then we'll click Save. And now this appears as an action that we can click on. You can favorite up to 10 actions. Apps, which previously meant third-party plugins and tools, is now called integrations, and you can click on the plug icon. This is where you see your integrations displayed, and you can click on Find Integrations, and this is where you can select one and then sync it to your QuickBooks Online account. You can also access them by clicking on My Apps, Accounting, and then Integration Transactions, and this is where you find the ones that are specifically related to sales. The bank feed has undergone some changes as well, especially with the use of AI. To access the bank feed, we'll go to My Apps and then Accounting and Bank Transactions. And we can see that a few of the labels have changed. So pending was previously for review and posted was previously categorized. We can make changes in line for each transaction, so we don't need to click on it and open it. So we can select the vendor, we can select the category, and we either match or categorize. Under action, post was previously add. It still works the same way. And if we click on the drop down arrow, we can see the other actions that we're familiar with, such as split, create rule, categorization history now goes back 24 months, and then exclude. And you'll see these stars here. So this is AI doing its work. So if I click there, it's letting us know that when we previously used the vendor Intuit, the category that we used was memberships and subscriptions. So I'm going to click on more info, and I'm going to zoom out just a bit. And here we can see the previous transactions that were categorized as memberships and subscriptions, and we can also make revisions to the transactions in this section. Let's add a few transactions to our bank register. So the first one is going to be the Intuit purchase, and the category is memberships and subscriptions. So we're going to post it. And then we'll also find a match. So I'm going to click Match. And we can see that there's already a transaction that has been recorded into our bank register. So it's from July 3rd, Buyback Insurance for $35. So I'm going to click Match. And this also will add it to the bank register. You can decide which transaction details you want to be able to view and edit in line by clicking on the gear icon. So we can create a column for customer, product service. We'll go into more details about requests and attached files shortly. And we can make a column for check number. And back to the gear icon, we can turn on add new vendors. So this means that QuickBooks will add common vendors to your transactions and vendor list. I'm going to change some of these columns. I'm going to turn them off just for the sake of space. And we have table preferences, so we can click on group rows by selected column. And let's say we want to group transactions by bank descriptions. So you'll see that we now have the vendor names grouped together as well as the ATM withdrawals, and this can really help with easily categorizing and adding your transactions. I'm going to go back to the date display. And then under the gear icon, we can show amount as spent and received. Currently, the amount is displayed as a negative number if it's an expense or a positive number if it's a deposit. But if we turn on this table preference, we now have a column for spent for our expenses and received for our deposits. We can make the date editable. So now in line, you can click on the calendar and then select the appropriate date for a transaction. And show full bank description. So I believe for AMC, this would change. Yeah, so if we take a look at the AMC, when I show the full bank description, we then see AMC Theaters. And if we turn on copy bank description to memo, so let's take AMC Theaters as an example. So even if we chose a different vendor name, this memo would still remain the same. And QuickBooks allows us to display up to 300 transactions on one page. You can turn on the Attach Files feature, and then a column will appear with a paperclip at the top, and you can click on the plus button, and then you'll be able to add a document such as a receipt or a contract for a transaction. So now I'm logged in from the bookkeeper perspective. I'm going to click on the gear icon and turn on requests. And now we have a column with a speech bubble, and we can see that there are some speech bubbles with dots in the middle. This means that requests have been sent to a customer for more information about a transaction. So let's go ahead and click on the plus button for the Costco transaction, and let's ask what was purchased. We can click add and post. However, this is going to add the transaction to the bank register. Instead, I'm going to click on add request to list. This doesn't email it to the customer, it just adds it to the list. And then from here, we can click on the drop down arrow. We can copy the link and then email it to a customer or send it to them via text message. If we click on requests, here we can see all the open requests that we have for a customer, and we can remove it or we can mark it as complete. We can also send the request. So within QuickBooks Online, we can just add the email address, or again, we have the option of copying the link and then sending it outside of QuickBooks Online to our customer. If we click on the gear icon, we have some alerts that we can set up. So we can be notified every day at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time when we received a response to one of our requests. We just add an email address. And here we can notify our customers of new requests every Monday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We can also push a notification. So this would provide a link that a customer can open up in a web browser. So they don't have to be logged into their QuickBooks Online account. They don't have to download the app. And we can also turn on Intuit Assist. So this would allow AI to ask clarifying questions of our customer. So from the customer perspective, we can see that there's some transactions with a speech bubble. So we can click on it in line and then respond. So for Home Depot, tools were purchased. And so we've responded to the question from the bookkeeper. We can also add an attachment. And then I'm going to X out of here. Another option is clicking on requests. And this would take us to a new screen. And this is also where we can respond. So they're asking about AMC Theater, and I'll say, no, this was an advertising expense. And now we'll mark the response as complete. And now that we're back at the bank transaction screen, we can see that there's now a check mark in the middle of the speech bubble. There may be times when you don't have access to the CSV format of a bank statement, and you only have it in PDF or image format such as JPEG or PNG. Now you can upload the statement in one of those formats. QuickBooks Online will extract the data, and then you have a chance to verify the transactions and import them into your QuickBooks Online account. I'm going to click on the drop-down arrow and then click Upload from File. And we're going to upload the file to the Chase checking account. And I'm going to use the PDF of a Chase bank statement and then click Open. Now QuickBooks Online is extracting the data. On the left-hand side of the screen, we have the bank statement that was uploaded, and we can navigate by clicking down to go to the next page or up to go to the previous page. We can also zoom in on the bank statement and zoom out. We can fit it to the width of the screen or to the height of the screen. And we can also turn on highlight, so the key details are highlighted. I'm going to turn off highlight. And then for the transactions, so we see all of the details that were extracted from the statement that we uploaded. If I click in here on one of the transactions, QuickBooks shows me where the transaction is located on the statement. And then we can select individual transactions to import, or in this case, we're going to import all the transactions. So I'll click the box above and then click Import. There may be times when you want to get rid of the extra distractions, so you want to temporarily hide the navigation menu and the top menu. So you can either use Control Period to go in and out of focus mode, or you can click on the figure to the right to go in and out of focus mode. Just breathe and know that adjusting to the changes in QuickBooks Online takes time for all of us. The key features are still in place, and you can always watch this video again if you need guidance on the changes.